Good afternoon. Welcome back. Last time we discussed on some of the key essential components of strategic planning, and we ended it with why strategic planning fails. Today we shall be looking at corporate planning. Corporate planning, where we'll talk about the definition, the examples of basic corporate operations and objectives, the peculiarities of corporate objectives, the factors affecting the formulation of corporate objectives, the aims and objectives of corporate planning, the benefits of corporate planning, the limitations of corporate planning, and why corporate planning failed, or reasons why corporate planning or corporate plan failed. Corporate planning is defined as a process of drawing up detailed action plan to achieve organizational goals and objectives, taking into account or consideration the resources of the organization and the environment within which it operates. It represents a formal, structured approach to achieving objectives and to implement the corporate strategy of an organization. This was traditionally seen as the responsibility of senior management. The use of the term became predominant during the 1960s, but has now been largely superseded by the concept of strategic management. Corporate planning is defined as a process of drawing up detailed action or action plans to achieve organizational goals and objectives. Taking into consideration the resources of the organization and the environment within which it operates. That being said, it represents a formal structured approach to achieving set targets and congruent goals, thereby implementing the corporate strategy of a going concern. Corporate objectives. Corporate objectives represents the basic reason. It represents the basic reason for which it was established. It is a general statement relating to future results or conditions upon which corporate desires are to be achieved. The organization's objectives are those ends, quote and unquote, which it must achieve in order to implement or meet its mission. Presents the general statement. Relating to future results. Or conditions upon which corporate desires are to be achieved. Examples of basic corporate objectives. Examples of basic corporate objectives. Some of the examples of basic corporate objectives are: 1. To carry on a diversified, growing, and profitable manufacturing business. 'Growing and profitable manufacturing business. 2. To achieve high return on investment (ROI). 3. To pursue staff development vigorously. 4. To ensure massive distribution of products. The setting of corporate objectives is usually the main duty or duties of the top management. Also, these objectives will be formulated according to the accepted philosophies of the organization and its management. The company's objectives should be set out as clearly and as concisely as possible. Now, what are the peculiarities of corporate objectives? CASME 1995 posits that corporate objectives should possess the following desirable peculiarities in order to be effective or achievable. Corporate objectives should be understandable. It should be specific and concrete. It should be based on specific time frame. It should be standardized, measurable, and controllable. It should be challenging and not demotivating. Should correlate with each other. It should be set considering internal and external consultants. Should be based on specific time frame. Should be standardized, measurable, and controllable. Should be challenging and not demotivating. It should correlate with each other. According to Peter Drucker in 1974, corporate objectives have to be set in the areas of marketing, innovation, productivity, physical and financial resources, profitability, management performance and attitudes, and social responsibility. innovation, productivity, physical and financial resources, profitability, management performance and attitude, and social responsibility. What are the objectives of a corporate planning? The basic purpose of corporate planning is to improve strategic decision making in the organization so that resources and talents are applied to the most profitable use. Basic purpose is to improve strategic decision making in the organization so that resources and talents are applied to the most profitable use. The objectives of corporate planning include: 1. It assists in the fair and reasonable allocation of resources among divisions and units. It helps top management level in the analysis and consideration of alternative course of action. So, new opportunities are identified and exploited. Also, it makes it easy for the objective set, strategy, and tactics to be appraised regularly. It also encourages internal examination, of the firm's internal strengths and weaknesses. It equally develops futuristic outlook for the organization. It ensures that organizations adjust to environment opportunities and threats, thereby ensuring a better fit between the business and its environment. It helps top management level in the analysis and consideration of alternative course of action. So new opportunities are identified and exploited. It is therefore targeted at enhancing corporate performance. Corporate planning serving as basic objectives. These are the basic purpose of corporate planning towards ensuring the desired objectives is being met. We move on to limitations of corporate planning. The limitations of corporate planning include the following. 1. Planning is time consuming and expensive. It is not useful in a dying company. Planning does not guarantee that the company will not be affected by adverse circumstances. It does not guarantee that the company will not be affected by adverse circumstances. It involves a measure of judgment. It is subjective and subject to errors. It could reduce organizations' flexibility. Planning itself cannot produce results. That which is timely and appropriate actions are required for success. Corporate planning program cannot be suddenly started and expected to be an overnight success. It involves a measure of judgment. These are the limitations, the shortcomings of corporate planning. We talked about examples of basic corporate objectives earlier. Revolving around to carry on a diversified, growing and profitable manufacturing business, to achieve high return on investment, to pursue staff development vigorously, as well as ensure massive distribution of products. In addition, we have what is called profitability. Achieving a certain level of profit to ensure financial sustainability and growth. We also have market leadership. Market leadership, which talks about becoming a dominant player or leader in the industry or market. We have the innovation, which ensure high levels of customer satisfaction with the use of technology to stay competitive and meet changing customer needs. We have customer satisfaction. We ensure a level of customer satisfaction and loyalty. Employee engagement. We create a positive workplace culture that promotes employee satisfaction and engagement. The social responsibility. You contribute to the community and environment through socially responsible practices. Thereon, we move to the peculiarities of corporate objectives. We stated that, according to CASME in 1995, that corporate objectives should be understandable, specific and concrete, should be based on specific time frame, should be standardized, measurable, and controllable. It should be challenging and not demotivating. It should correlate with each other and should be set incorporating the internal and the external consultants. Additionally, we have the hierarchy, long-term focus, holistic and strategic alignment. For the hierarchy, corporate objectives are often at the top of the organizational hierarchy, guiding the development of departmental and individual objectives. We have the long-term focus. Corporate objectives typically have a long-term focus, aligning with the organization's strategic vision. The holistic point of view encompasses various aspects of the organization, including financial, operational, and societal dimensions. We have the strategic alignment. The corporate objectives align with and support the organization's mission, vision, and overall strategic direction. Thereon, we moved to the factors affecting the formulation of corporate objectives in corporate planning. We talked about the forces of the internal and external environment, realities of the organization's resources and internal power relationships, the value system of the top management of the organization, the awareness of the organization's management. In addition, we have the external environment, the internal capabilities, industry dynamics, technological advances, and globalization. The economic conditions or economic environment, the external environment, borders around the market trends, regulatory changes and influence on the overall setting of objectives. We have the internal capabilities. This talks about the organization's strengths, weaknesses, resources, and capabilities that shape the organization's objectives. We have the stakeholder expectations. Consideration of the expectations and interests of key stakeholders, including shareholders, customers, and employees. The industry dynamics talks about understanding the competitive landscape and industry dynamics, which informs the setting of realistic objectives. We have the technological advances. Here you embrace or adapt to technological changes which can influence corporate objectives. We have the globalization. This talks about the consideration of internal factors, the international factors, and global trends impacting the organization. We also talked about the benefits of corporate planning. You have the strategic direction, resource allocation, coordination, adaptability, the enhanced decision making, and risk management. The limitations of corporate planning borders around 1. Rigidity, complexity, resource intensive, limited predictability. Corporate planning not being suddenly started and expected to be an overnight success. It's time consuming and expensive. It is not useful in a dying company. It is subjective and subject to errors. Now we move on to reasons why corporate plan fails. There are several reasons why corporate planning fails. They include, but not limited to, the following. 1. You have the lack of support from top management. Two, poor attitude towards issues coming. from a unit or department. Three, we have the inability to recognize the multiplicity of objectives. Four, we also have the rules of bureaucracy. Five, we have a poor and ineffective communication system. We also have the failure to allocate sufficient resources, the failure to allow planning organization to grow to maturity, too much reliance on committees, and faulty implementation of the plans. These are some of the reasons why corporate planning or plans fail. In conclusion, in this unit, we've been exposed to corporate planning in all its ramifications, including the benefits, limitations, and the reasons why corporate planning fails. In summary, we also learned the definition and the concept of corporate planning. And we are now conversant with the term corporate objectives, the examples of corporate objectives, and the factors that affect formulation of corporate objectives. These were also discussed to drive the points home. The benefits and limitations of corporate planning and the reasons why corporate planning fails were also discussed. We have come to the end of today's lesson. It's on this note that we draw the curtain. We'll meet next time. Thank you for listening.